It's been over a year since my last filmmaking gear review video, and there's been a lot of new toys I've been playing with and I'm excited to share with you. Some you might expect, but many you definitely won't. I've got 15 pieces of gear here, ranging in price from single digit all the way to 4 digits, so there's something here for every creative. And I've saved the most controversial item, the one that caused my girlfriend to call me insane for purchasing, for last. So stick around for that, and you be the judge. Before I dive into my main camera rig, I want to show you something that I just picked up. This, the Sony ZV-1. Not even the Mark II that came out later. This is the original one, the ZV-1. Got this for $500 used on Amazon. And this is just a really fun, tiny, simple, cheap camera. And honestly, I think it's perfect for the total beginner filmmaker, the super low budget filmmaker who wants to try just making some narrative films, but maybe doesn't want to use their phone for one reason or another. Now, actually, the camera in this thing is a lot like an iPhone camera, but just better, you know, in the sense that it has an SD card, so you can just pop it into your computer when you get your footage, get a bit more control and in a more intuitive form factor. Plus, it's just better at telephoto distances. iPhone cameras just kind of suck. Even if you get like the 3x lens on it, it just doesn't look that good. Looks good on this. And I've already started using this for shooting thumbnails for these YouTube videos. And by the way, thanks to YC Imaging's channel for the tip about using interval mode, which is normally for time lapses, to shoot photos of yourself instead of the self timer, because then you can take like 30 photos in 30 seconds and get more options. What a great tip. What a great channel. Cold shoe, a mic jack, a micro HDMI input, so you have a lot of options with it. And on top of that, great built-in stabilization for handheld shooting, really good autofocus, and like just the right zoom range to make it useful for most short film shooting. Like you have so many options with this thing, and it's so stealthy you can get away with shooting like inside a store. So I'm very tempted to use this for a short film just to show what's possible with really cheap beginner gear, because sometimes I'm just like, simple is better. Like I just want to grab this. This makes it fun to just like start filming, you know, attach a Rode mic Pro or whatever wireless mic to this, get the other transmitter on your actor, you're good to go. And sure, it doesn't have 10-bit recording, it doesn't have 4K 60, but again, we're keeping things simple here. If you can't make a good film with a camera like this, upgrading to some big fancy rig isn't gonna suddenly make you a better storyteller. It's actually just going to distract you from the things that you should be trying to master with something very simple and basic like this, my opinion. But now let's go to the main camera rig, which I'm still rocking my trusty Panasonic GH6. GH7 came out, it's very sexy. Probably should have waited and bought that. But the GH6 is good for now. And there's a lot of accessories on here I want to dig into, starting with this guy at the top. This is the Pyro 7 by Hollyland. It's a 7-inch wireless capable monitor. It uses dual band signal, so it automatically can switch between 2.4 and 5 gigahertz as needed, which is going to give you a more stable signal, and the signal is up to 1,300 feet. I'm unlikely to ever push it more than that, so I'm very happy with the signal strength on this. But whenever we talk about any of the more consumer-friendly wireless video transmitter devices, latency is always a big issue. And again, as with pretty much all of these, latency is not amazing. It's not the best for follow focus if you're doing a difficult shot, because like professional first AC is going to want virtually no delay in their video feed to do their job reliably. To get that, you're gonna have to spend a lot more money on a really high-end wireless system. And if you were to take this monitor off and use it just as a receiver or as a director's monitor or as a focus pulling monitor, then you're going to want to attach one of these to your camera rig. This is a Pyro S. You could also use the Pyro H, but important to note that the Pyro series of transmitters and receivers are the ones that's compatible with the Pyro 7. So if you have like the older Mars transmitter receivers, not gonna work. So now I have the Pyro 7 transmitter on the camera, wirelessly sending to the monitor. The monitor is acting as the receiver. So this could be my director's monitor. There's a lot of mount points. I can put handles on here. But for me, I'm mainly using it as an on-camera monitor because it's just so much easier to get that critical focus on a 7-inch monitor versus a 5-inch monitor like the Mars M1 that I was using before. I feel like if I'm gonna have my camera out, I either want it very rigged out with like a bigger 7-inch monitor, more accessories, or I want it very bare bones and just no monitor at all. DC jack, USB jack, so other ways to power it. And you get a SD card slot, and they give you a 32 gigabyte SD card. Very nice. So you can actually record the video feed, which is a fun feature, but I'll never use it because why would I want to record like a lower quality wirelessly transmitted feed from here? But with that SD card, you can load LUTs onto it, use those in the monitor. You can also take screenshots for an onion skin feature to line up shots, which can be really handy. And I think you still get a ton of use just out of the monitor because it's just very versatile. You get a large monitor, you get a transmitter. So if you're operating, you're getting a good view of the action, and somebody else can still be using an iPad or an iPhone as a director's monitor somewhere else. And I think if you get this and then later upgrade to getting the Pyro H or S transmitter receiver kit, then you can use the monitor as one of your physical wireless receivers and just open up more options and versatility for you. This is the ideal filmmaking rig. It's actually better to just hold it by the monitor. Another thing that just lives on my camera now is this up front. This is the Freewell magnetic filters, and this is an ND/CPL filter, circular polarizer, and that just magnetically snaps on. It's a variable ND, so I can change it from 1 to 5. And then the kit comes with another ND that's heavier that I can swap on here if it's really bright out. Also, I got this snow mist filter, which just gives you a little softer, dreamier look. And I pretty much leave that in all the time too. And it even has a magnetic lens cap that goes over the front. Now this kit is pretty pricey, but I find myself swapping on and off the variable NDs all the time. And just having it magnetically click on and off is very handy, so it does save a lot of time. If you find yourself shooting outdoors a lot, I think something to consider. Let's jump into audio. Now, this mic has been living on my rig for like the past year. I've talked about it before, but I love it. It's the Comica VM30. It's got gain control and a physical dial on the back here. The mic is battery powered. It charges via USB, but it automatically turns on and off with my camera when it's plugged into the mic jack. It can record a second safety track at a lower volume. It gets solid audio for an on-camera mic, like decent noise rejection from the sides. And just, make sure you know the limitations of an on-camera mic. It's not gonna perform any miracles for you. But if I was on a tight budget, I would even take a crack at putting this thing on like a boom pole and using it as just a normal shotgun mic. But best of all, it doubles as a wireless mic. So it comes with this receiver and you could plug that into your camera and just use it as a handheld mic like this. You got a wireless microphone, or you could hide it as a plant mic in the middle of a scene somewhere. Very, very versatile, cool piece of gear. Check out this low budget audio setup. Take your Comica receiver, attach it to your camera, even a simple little camera like this. It has a headphone jack on the receiver, so now you can monitor your audio, and then just take the mic and just attach it to any boom pole. You have a wireless boom pole now, and you can monitor your sound here. Adjust the levels on the back of the mic. Low budget filmmaking and audio doesn't get any more simple than that, and affordable. All right, let's put this camera and mic setup to the test. I'm outside, fairly quiet day. There's an airplane overhead right now. If I hold this boom pole out to maybe a realistic distance, hopefully you can see that. It's about 2 feet away from my face. How's it sound? Good? Cheap. This is 160 bucks plus the boom pole. Not a bad deal. I recently upgraded from the DJI mic here to the Rode Wireless Pro mics, which are sick. The main difference between these and many of the other wireless mics out there is that they offer 32-bit float audio. And if you're not familiar with 32-bit float, basically it makes it impossible to clip your audio or record the audio too quietly. You're just getting a ton of bandwidth in the audio so that you can raise and lower the volume in post and not have to worry about setting your levels wrong. Which, if you've ever messed up and set your levels way too high and had unusable audio, or way too low and had unusable audio, just one failed shoot makes these pay for themselves. But maybe even cooler than that, it has time code capabilities, which I have not dived into yet, but on a bigger shoot, that could be very handy, especially if you're shooting with multiple cameras, if you're starting and stopping all day, having time code baked into this, very cool. And you get a lot of accessories, most importantly, 2 lapel mics that are actually good. And these plugged into the transmitters, properly wired up in actors' clothes, are gonna do so much to get you actual good audio. And again, I've said it 1,000 times in this channel, but it never stops happening. Bad audio is the #1 problem with like beginner short films from a technical level. It's not the cinematography, okay? Cinematography might be a little out of focus, not a big deal. But the audio, if you can't even understand what people are saying, or if it just sounds like it's been recorded a mile away through a wind tunnel, it's not gonna be even watchable. So you really gotta start working on getting that good audio. So I love that they include all these accessories. It's just like a one-stop shop for getting good audio for up to 2 actors right here. Very cool. Sometimes I have to film something really quick and dirty, especially for these YouTube videos, and I just want to use my phone and just pop it off. But setting up a full real tripod for a phone shot seems ridiculous and defeats the whole purpose of using a phone in the first place. So I got this very portable, very lightweight, very quick to set up tripod just for phone shooting. You just pull it and it spreads its legs like the naughty girl it is, and it gets surprisingly high for such a simple little portable tripod. It's got a ball head at the top to change the angle, then you just tighten it. And the best feature of all is that it's Magsafe, so I can just pop my phone on it like that, get the shot, pop it off when I'm done. And as an added bonus, built into the leg is this. It's a wireless little shutter button. So if you're filming yourself, you can start and stop filming remotely, which is very handy. Especially handy because the higher up you set this tripod, when you put your phone on there and let go, you have to wait for it to stop swaying. So if you can remotely trigger it, you don't have to reset the swaying time again. But in my opinion, that's a very small price to pay for such a convenient little tripod like this. And I think this is a great purchase for the smartphone filmmakers out there just starting out, because it's a quick, easy way to start shooting locked off tripod shots and practicing composing a good frame for every shot in your film. These handheld foggers seem to be growing more popular, and I get it. This company sent me this, and it is super convenient for fogging up a small room compared to plugging in a whole fog machine, which I found to be pretty temperamental. Really, it operates like a big vape. You fill it with the included liquid up at the top and turn it on, and very quickly it's ready to spit out fog once it lights up here. And this little thing actually generates enough fog to fill up this room and create real ambience. And it comes with different attachments that let you create different types of effects. Like if you put this thing on here, it generates this low-lying fog, which is great for product shots. And it all fits into this little case. It gets charged with a USB cable. All that for less than $100. So if you find yourself wanting more haze or fog in small areas, something like this, totally worth it. Let's take it for a spin. Look at it go. I mean, not bad, right? Little handheld device, $80. All right, let's talk about some stuff around the office here. Plastic organizer bins and a label maker. 40 bucks for a label maker, 30 bucks for 12 of these bins. Yes, I'm officially a boring adult because the almost orgasmic level of ecstasy I felt sorting all of my gear into these bins and labeling them, it's too graphic to even describe here. But to this day, I get a small thrill every time I have to reach for something, one of these bins, find it so quickly and easily. And yes, it did take a while to sort all of my crap out. Now I know where every tiny piece of my gear is immediately. It's quick to pull it out. I would have gotten slightly bigger bins than these, except for the fact that I measured it out and these fit perfectly in a 3x3 grid in my storage cabinets back here. And I've been using the labels for other stuff too. It's just really handy once you've either accumulated too much gear or have just started running out of space to store it, which I've run into both of those problems. Next up, I'm gonna have to slide this over and just stick my head in here, but this is my charging wall. This is probably the most clutch part of my office. I interact with this wall every day. It's always a pleasure, and I documented the making, putting it together of it on a longer video. I'll link in the description and the link to all the parts that I used in it. But I charge all my batteries here, various chargers, tools, some lights, stuff like box cutters and pens and USB-C cables. And I also charge my devices here. I keep my V-mounts here, everything. And before I had this wall, all these battery chargers and stuff were just splattered out on the floor. It was a real mess, and I can never go back, ever. Plus, it's metal, and I have lots of magnetic stuff that will just clamp on wherever. Very handy. That's where I keep my label maker. All right, let's dive a little further down the nerd rabbit hole. How about my CalDigit TS4 dock? That is a Thunderbolt 4 dock going into the MacBook Pro, and it literally controls like everything on my desk. And the reason I went for it is it's just future-proof connectivity. It's very expensive though, and I resisted buying one of these forever, but now that I have it, I get it. I've had friends that have gotten cheaper docks. I myself have gotten cheaper docks, and something doesn't work, something goes wrong, the monitor drops out, the devices don't power up or work. Everything just works with this, and I love it. Thunderbolt 4 is just such a powerful connection that you can plug this thing into your MacBook Pro and be a one cable king. One cable from the MacBook into this, everything goes into the CalDigit. Disclaimer, I'm not a one cable king anymore. The only reason I have a second cable going in is for my camera feed. You can't have like 4K video going out to 2 monitors and 4K video going back in from a camera all through the same cable hub. Too much, I get stuttery video. For my peace of mind, 2 cable king right here. Next, another expensive, but for me, so worth it device, the Rode Streamer X. Now for YouTube, these videos, what I'm doing right now, this is my camera capture card and my audio interface. And I can cut the feed on either device for privacy whenever I want. See? Just hit a button. Pretty cool, right? I was talking right there, you couldn't hear me because I turned off the microphone. When you connect it to your computer, it uses their Rode Unify app, which is a little tricky to set up, took a lot of tinkering, but now that it's all running, it's great. The biggest reason I love this is that it's cleaning up my voice on the fly, and I'm getting much better audio quality in these recordings as a result. Plus, it acts as a receiver with the Rode wireless mics. So if I wanted to have a guest in here for a video, I could mic them up with one of these transmitters, get both the mic audio right here, and this mic going into this Streamer X, and call it a day. I've also switched to just recording A-roll entirely on my desktop in OBS instead of on a memory card on the camera, but now we're getting super in the weeds with YouTubing. Suffice to say, this device has improved my whole workflow. Oh, and I can also do this now whenever I want.
And I can change my voice. Does this sound cool? It should.
Maybe I'll do something like this. Lots of buttons, lots of fun. Next, something very exciting, a notebook. The best one that I've found for my purposes, and I'll tell you why. Now, I used to use normal composition notebooks for brainstorming, but eventually I got a little more particular and bougie about what I wanted out of my notebook. I wanted it to feel a little bit more premium, you know, have some leather backing, because to me that says, hey, my ideas are premium. But I didn't want it to be too nice because I also want to feel comfortable writing what turns out to be total nonsense in here. But I wanted some features like a built-in pen holder, which this has. It also has a strap to keep it closed. It's got a little folder in the back, put your stuff in there.
A lot of people don't realize this, but you can put your weed in there.
Very importantly, it lies flat on a table. It's durable. I've had this for literally years now, and I'm just jotting in little 2-line stupid ideas that I'll never go back to, probably. Very importantly, the pages are thick enough that ink won't bleed through, so when you're looking at one page of text, you're only seeing that page of text, especially because I like to use a pretty thick pen. And this is my preferred pen now, the Sharpie S Gel 0.7. Like most connoisseurs, I used to use the Pilot G2 0.7, but that thing smears so crazy, your palm will completely wipe out a page of writing you just did. This dries way, way faster, doesn't smear. I love it. Buy them. Next up, I've been trying to write fiction for an hour a day, part of my new routine, so whether that's a script or just a short story, whatever it is. And I found that the iPad is my favorite way to achieve this because I've deleted Instagram and all the other time-wasting crap from it. So now it's really just a work device, and it's a little harder for me to get distracted on it. But the iPad keyboards, or at least the older ones like this, really suck. Have you ever tried to do serious typing on this crap? It's awful. So instead, I got rid of that and I got this Logitech keyboard with a slot for your iPad or phone or whatever. I bought it used on Amazon for like 15 bucks on a whim, and I love it. It's got just enough clickety-clack to really feel like I'm typing, almost like this is my personal typewriter. The batteries last a really long time. It's got this knob that lets you switch between devices, so you can pair your phone or your computer to it. And it is a bit heavy, which it needs to be to hold up a tablet. So I just keep it sitting in front of the couch so I can toss my iPad into it and start writing whenever, or I pick the whole thing up, Take it outside, right out on the porch with a little iced tea. Beautiful. And finally, we have my most controversial piece of gear. The one that my girlfriend told me I was crazy to spend this much money on because I spent $70 on a timer.
Brother, what's that?
Why did I spend $70 on a timer? Well, it's really cool, okay? Because it doesn't even show you the actual time that you have left, at least not on the front. But I've got it set to a minute right now, right? I hit this button at the top. Look at that. And then it just starts going. See how it slowly, the yellow disappears? It's really cool. And then it gets to the end and it beeps if you want it to. So yeah, this just lives on my desk and it's useful as like a little Pomodoro timer if you're into that. Sometimes I'll just set it for an hour and I'll just say, I'm gonna focus for an hour. I can't do anything until the yellow gets to the end and then it starts beeping. Could I use a kitchen timer, a $1 timer to do the same thing? Sure. I could wipe my ass with sandpaper too, but I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna use the thing that I like. But look, you're about to hear it beep. And it actually does have a Pomodoro function, so you can set how long you want your breaks to be, and it'll start winding back the other way, and it'll start going the other way. But realistically, the time I use this the most is actually when I'm writing on my little keyboard, iPad, whatever. Just take this wherever, set it down, set it to an hour, hit the button, and then I know when this beeps again, I have to return to the real world. And it's just a ritual for me at this point. Could have used any timer, but I don't know. It's just like feels fun when you have these little gadgets. I think it's really cool. I think it's worth $70. I don't think I'm crazy. It's a cool gadget. She's the crazy one. This is worth $70. Of course, you'll find links to all of this below. Check them out. And remember, all this gear is just gear until you use it as a tool to tell crowd-pleasing stories, make great films, be an artist. And if that's the skill that you want to develop, then I recommend that you join me and over 200 students in Wrapped in 30 Days, the narrative filmmaking course and community I've spent over a year building and continue putting a lot of time into. Think of it like film school for the real world. You'll follow along with over 100 carefully crafted lessons I've made to guide you through the process of making your own simple but crowd-pleasing narrative short film in just 1 month. Working on your own schedule with whatever time and budget you have available. I promise you can do it. I've seen other people do it with full-time jobs, families, all that stuff. So enroll now at wraps.school if you're interested. And that's it. More good stuff coming very soon. Okay, my cat is in the shot. All right. Hey, he's on my iPhone tripod. +1 for durability.